Welcome to day 39 in our fearless devotional journey together. I posted a video earlier this morning, but the audio was kind of messing up, so I'm just going to redo the video for you guys. And now that it's later during the day, there's actually sunshine, so I can come outside and do this in the morning. Today's our last Bible story that we're studying together, where the phrase "do not be afraid" is used. And it happens in Revelation 1. And John is sitting there, and we don't know what he's doing, but all of a sudden he hears a voice behind him. And it says it's a voice that sounded like a trumpet. So it was loud and strong and clear. Yet we know that it was familiar because John knew the voice of Jesus. And he spins around and he sees Jesus. And the description of Jesus is amazing. His feet are like on fire. His eyes are blazing. His beard and his hair is white, and his clothes are shining. And John is just overwhelmed, and he falls on his face. It's almost like he passes out in front of Jesus. That's how amazingly powerful Jesus's presence is. And what it says here in Revelation, John falls to his face. It says, "When I saw him, I fell to his feet as though I was dead. Then Jesus placed his right hand on me, and he said, 'Do not be afraid. I am the first and the last. I am the living one. I was dead, and behold, I am alive forever and ever. And I hold the keys of death and Hades.'" Now Jesus says, don't be afraid. And then he gives these rock solid reasons on why we should not be afraid. Now, I just want you to imagine your favorite superhero. Maybe it's Batman or Superman or Mr. Incredible. Whatever it is, imagine that they were standing right next to you. Would you be afraid? Now, many times in the movies, there's a person who needs to be rescued, and it looks like it's over for them. And then the hero shows up. And if you watch their face in the movies, their face is always like, yes, it's going to be okay. I don't have to be afraid anymore because the hero is here. And that's what Jesus is telling John. He's saying, don't be afraid. I'm the first and the last. And what this signifies is I'm like the scout. I've gone ahead of you. I've blazed the trail. I know what's ahead. I'm leading you, but also I'm the last. I'm your rear guard. I'm here to help you when you fall. I'm here to pick you up and carry you. I go before you and behind you. It means you're completely surrounded by me. It's like the hero takes you in his arms, and when Lois Lane is picked up by Superman and he flies away, she knows that there's nothing that can happen to her. Superman is in front of her and behind her. He's before her. He's wrapped his arms around her. And that's what Jesus is saying to John. I am before you and after you. And then he calls himself the living one. It's almost like he's saying, my superhero name is Life Man. Or he says, I'm the living one. And he means I have life. That's my superpower. I can't just, it's not like, oh, I can fly or I've got big muscles. He says, I am life. He says, I was alive, I died, and I came back to life. It's like Jesus figured out the secret to immortality. He has conquered death. Now, if you have a superhero next to you, like Iron Man, who has like a super cool technology suit, and he's like, don't be afraid, I'm here for you. Now, Iron Man can do all sorts of cool things, but he can't bring you back from the dead. He can't conquer death. He can fly and shoot rockets out of his hands, but that's nothing compared to Jesus, who says, I have conquered death. I am the living one. Now, just like you would feel safe if a superhero flew out of the sky and landed right next to you, but even then there would be chinks in the armor. How much more can you have courage and not be afraid when Jesus says, I'm the living one. I'm before you and after you. I am with you. Don't be afraid. Now, when you get a cliche Christian answer, if you're cynical or doubtful or intelligent, you're going to ask questions like, yeah, but what about? And you're going to come up with things and say, yeah, but what if? Now take whatever your what if is and put it next to the living one. What if you die of corona? What if you die in a riot? What if you die of old age? What if you lose your job and all your money and starve to death and die? What if, the worst example of everything, if it gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, eventually you die. And Jesus says, you know what, I've conquered death. You don't have to be afraid of that. So if we don't have to be afraid of death, do we need to be afraid of getting sick, of getting fired, of being abandoned? Now, I'm not saying that those things aren't painful and bad, but I'm saying if you look at the end result, do you need to be afraid? If you could look at a movie script and see at the end, oh my goodness, we win and it's glorious, and then halfway through the movie, you're acting out the movie, are you really scared? Because you know, hey, in the end, we win. In the end, it's a huge victory. So yeah, it's really bad right now, but I'm going to be tough and believe and keep moving forward. And that's what Jesus is telling John. John, I know you're a prisoner on Patmos. John, I know you've been abandoned by your fellow believers. John, I know you feel like you're all alone. John, I know you're probably going to die on this island. But don't be afraid. I'm the living one. In fact, your enemies tried to shut you up, but I'm going to give you a message that's going to echo to the very end of the world. So don't be afraid. Because I'm the first and the last, and I'm the living one. And so whatever problems you're facing right now, whatever fear you have right now, what these last 39 days have been trying to do is to turn our eyes off of our fears onto the living one. Because he can conquer our fears. Because he is bigger. Because he's good. And because God's got this. Share this video with someone who needs some encouragement today. If you'd like to go the next step and get my book called Fearless, Finding Courage in the Character of God, go to Amazon. It's on Kindle and paperback, so you can read it either way. And we know that God's doing great things, and he wants to give you the gift of fearlessness. God bless.